Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Lauren Green. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, a look back at stories from our money team, from a way to get rid of library fines to how inflation is impacting restaurants. If you left the library when the pandemic first began, it's going to be worth a revisit to the shelves. Libraries are continuing to try and get creative and offer more services to the community than ever before. Cronkite News reporter Jessica Herrera tells us how readers can feel more at ease when visiting the library.
Library systems are eliminating overdue fees for cardholders. It's an effort to get everyone back into the library.
Phoenix was rather unique. We were the first in the valley to discontinue charging for overdue fines, and we actually implemented that in the fall of 2019, right before the pandemic.
Other libraries are also eliminating overdue fines, including Chandler Public Libraries, which hopes this will benefit readers of all ages.
This is a really great thing for kids, for readers, for anyone who enjoys, library services.
Those generally impacted by library fees are the most vulnerable members of the community.
Typically, the segment of society that is most adversely affected by having fines on their library card is children. And, their ability to get to the library is often determined by a parent who, for, no fault of their own, may not be able to get back to the library on time. There could be mobility issues or transportation issues.
In addition to eliminating overdue fees, Chandler will reduce the cost of printing thanks to equipment upgrades.
So it's gone down to 10 cents for black and white printing and 25 cents for color printing. And, absolutely that is a huge benefit to students, to job seekers, all kinds of people who might not have internet or a computer or a printer at home.
Librarians hope that socioeconomic barriers won't stop anyone from enjoying safe spaces like this anymore.
Libraries should be serving everyone equally.
According to the American Library Association, eliminating fines increases library card usage and doesn't impact library budgets significantly. In Phoenix, Jessica Herrera, Cronkite News.
Replacement fees for lost or damaged materials are still in place at most libraries, even those that have eliminated late fees.
Those who have been displaced by the pipeline, haywire, and Contreras fires will soon be able to go home. After eating through more than 26,000 acres of land, the pipeline fire is 95% contained, and firefighters are assessing stabilization issues. The haywire fire is also 95% contained, and because both fires are mostly contained, the Coconino County Sheriff's Office has lifted all evacuations for the area. And after consuming almost 30,000 acres of land, the Contreras fire has been completely contained, but the Kitts Peak Observatory still remains under evacuation while crews assess the damage. Arizona has already been hit with more than 10 fire outbreaks this year. Julio Mora Rodriguez spoke with experts from Northern Arizona University about the increasing price in Arizona and how the Southwest will face combating fires.
Researchers at Northern Arizona University are looking at how much wildfires cost and how they impact the Arizona economy. It's not just about fire suppression. Wildfires leave behind debris, charred forests, and flooding. These events cause devastation and increase state spending.
Currently, we're working on projects looking at the losses from flooding and post-wildfire debris flows. This would be one of the indirect costs we're looking at, but then we've got a whole slew of other costs that we could look at.
The state also suffers indirectly. As areas are destroyed, it hurts the state's tourism industry. As a result of this, local communities will face sharp declines in their economies as well.
The whole, I don't think people like coming to see a charred hillside. And I think this gets reflected then in studies that are out there on property values. And it'll be interesting to see if people start looking at what the impacts are on home values. Typically in our area, we see declines in home values associated with wildfires.
A bipartisan bill sponsored by Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly provides $3 billion to fight fires in Arizona and across the country.
The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Law will invest $61 million directly into Arizona over 10 years. The funds will go to forest restoration in 4 different locations, including Flagstaff and Coconino.
Costs related to reforestation are also something states and national governments grapple with. Increased forest density and the dry climate make for the perfect environment for intense wildfires.
If we were to do restoration, fuels treatment, mitigation, if we were to use prescribed fire to reduce the hazard, we also know that creates potential benefits in terms of ecosystem function, water quality and quantity, improve wildlife habitat, improve, scenic beauty and cultural values. Those are much harder to put a dollar amount on.
Over the last 20 years, the cost of fire suppression has risen from just over $500 million to more than $2 billion, and these researchers hope to help predict future costs related to wildland fires. Julio Mora Rodriguez, Cronkite News.
Professor Miador also says another factor contributing to the increasing cost of wildfires is the amount of people moving into wooded areas. The more homes that need to be protected, the more firefighting resources needed.
The City of Phoenix awarded over $200,000 to 6 local small farms. The money is part of the Resilient and Sustainable Agriculture Grant, which is focused on bringing more fresh produce to the community. I learned some of this money will help the farms grow even more food for locals.
For farms in Arizona, growing produce during the summer becomes quite a challenge.
The heat kills them before they can grow. It destroys them.
Maya's farm is a small local farm that focused on using the grant money to support more resilient growing practices like covering seeds and soil from the heat, known as oculation.
So part of it is exciting for me because we've never had the opportunity to put the farm under oculation, and we're usually a weedy mess by September, and so this year maybe we'll be clean and nice and neat, and we'll be able to jump back on and plant really quickly.
Daly provides what she grows to the community and says the new opportunities the grant provides will help her work and contribute a little back to the earth.
We are feeding people food that will heal their bodies, hopefully, and heal the environment.
Maya's farm is only one of many using the grant money to begin new projects. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul has been waiting for some time for money to build shade structures for parts of their farm.
It's important for us to kind of create a microclimate for those plants so we can extend our grow season into months that really we wouldn't have a lot of production out of.
And with the increased production, food for members of the community that really need it is less of a struggle.
It's already stressful when you're finding yourself in a situation where maybe you lost your job or you're not making as much income as you need to sustain yourself, and food is the last thing we want anybody to be worried about.
With the impact of the pandemic on the food system, getting more food to more families is a primary focus for grant awardees.
It'll increase our reach, basically, and how impactful we are.
Once the shade structures are installed, St. Vincent de Paul plans to incorporate their sustainable farm practices like crop rotation. More shade means more food, and who doesn't like having more food?
4 other organizations are receiving grant money to work on sustainability projects, including a composting business and a mushroom farm.
Americans are spending more at the pump than ever before. In Arizona, gas prices are just under $5, almost $2 more than the same time last year. Rachel Fortunato tells us how to save money at the pump.
According to AAA, gas prices have hit a record high at the end of May, averaging $4.92 for a gallon of regular. In a conference call, representatives from the petroleum industry say gas prices are set by both consumers and suppliers.
A combination of supply and demand fundamentals, largely driven by the increase in demand coming out of the pandemic.
Arizona's average is even higher than the national average of $4.60 a gallon. Memorial Day is the start of the summer season. Many people will travel throughout the coming months. Aldo Vasquez with AAA Arizona says there are ways to save at the pump.
Anywhere that you can save a couple of cents here and there is going to go a long way, especially when it comes to gasoline. So definitely looking for those rewards programs with a lot of those gas stations that could save you a couple of cents on a gallon.
Vasquez also says keeping your car in good working order can save gas. And at these prices, every little bit helps. Rachel Fortunato, Cronkite News.
Petroleum industry experts also say a shortage of truck drives to supply gas stations with fuel is adding to the increased prices.
Gas prices are dropping, but if you filled up your tank lately, you know that prices are still at a pain point. According to AAA, a gallon of regular gas averages $5 in Arizona. I took a look at how high prices at the pump are impacting public transit and whether more people are heading to their local bus or light rail.
Public transit, an essential service for many traveling around the valley. But in recent months, riders say that buses and light rail are more crowded.
Now people are starting to come back because of the gas prices that are going up, so we see more people coming on a bus than before.
When the pandemic hit, many people quit riding public transit. Working from home became the new norm, and the need for public buses and light rail became less popular. Now people are coming back to work, and with gas averaging over $5 a gallon, public transit is an appealing option for more people.
So when we compare our ridership this spring to looking at the spring 1 year ago in 2021, we've certainly seen an increase in ridership on both bus and rail.
Compared to May 2021, Valley Metro says bus ridership has increased 17%, rail is up 38%, and Valley Metro's van pool program has seen an increase of 44% in May of 2022.
We have seen an increase in people requesting our van pool program, so we can attribute a lot of that to gas prices as well.
It may not only be gas prices driving increased ridership.
During COVID, we were so low because of requiring essential trips only. So as our economy's starting back up again, people are returning to work, we are seeing an increase in ridership.
Valley Metro says that major events like Fan Fusion and sports games have brought people back. Still, riders like Salvatore say prices at the pump are feeling the increase.
So before COVID, the buses were 100% full every day. Now you see maybe 10%, of the bus occupancy. But it's many reasons. It's not just the gas prices. Some people went back, started working remotely during COVID, and didn't come back because they have that flexibility. But I would say most people coming back to the buses is because of gas prices.
Valley Metro officials say that transit schedules were adjusted due to construction and pandemic guidelines, but as of this month, the schedules have returned to the pre-pandemic ones.
If you've been out to eat lately, you may have noticed your check is a little larger. It may even have an extra inflation fee tagged on it. Well, the recent increase in prices across the nation means restaurants have to increase their prices on food items too. I found out what Arizona restaurant owners are doing to stay in business during trying times.
These quesadillas are a specialty at Chino Bandito, an eatery that specializes in blending traditional flavors from Mexican and Asian cuisines. But lately, they've been costing a lot more to make.
I actually did better during COVID than I am now.
Inflation is hitting everyone, especially restaurants.
I think the only way that I'm surviving it is unfortunately increasing prices and trying to keep up with just the day-to-day supply issues.
The current average profit margin for restaurants is 5 to 6%. This industry, like many others, is directly affected by the rising costs of produce and other ingredients. Eve Collins, Chino Bandito restaurant owner, says prices for common items like food boxes and utensils have also increased due to inflation.
So many things that we have are related to fuel. They're related to oil. So your styrofoam, your containers, your plastics.
Steve Chukri, president and CEO of the Arizona Restaurant Association, says that daily living costs and the current state of our economy adds on to the stress many business owners are experiencing.
Inflation and increasing gas prices really are a thief to discretionary income. And that's what we thrive on in the industry. You're going to pay your mortgage or your rent and your car payment first, and then what's left over gets spent in a restaurant.
On top of inflation, according to the 2022 State of the Restaurant Industry Report, 96% of operators experienced a shortage of key food items.
You expect to receive certain goods and services at your back door, at your kitchen door, in our case, and you're short something or the other. And that's hard to plan for in the restaurant business.
So the next time you crave that Jade Red chicken for dinner, know that you may have to pay a little more to enjoy it.
According to the National Restaurant Association, food, labor, and occupancy costs are expected to remain elevated throughout this year, but predict the economy will start to slowly improve and provide much-needed relief for business owners.
Pride Month is coming to a close, and many LGBTQ+ businesses are busier than ever. With customers ready to spend locally, entrepreneurs are thinking creatively when it comes to business decisions. Cronkite News reporter Jessica Herrera tells us more about how LGBTQ+ communities contribute to the economy.
Phoenix Cookie, a Puerto Rican eatery, had its first taste of success as a popular food truck in the Melrose district. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, the owners decided to expand with a restaurant when the economy wasn't at its best.
We knew that we had already hit, that peak in our food truck business. Really when you get to the point where you're running out of food every weekend and you still have people wanting to buy, then you're at that point just losing money.
LGBTQ+ entrepreneurs like Carvajal also feel the effects of inflation and are thinking of new ways to balance out the cost for customers.
With our pricing, we developed a fast casual model, so that way, we're not, spending a lot of that money on a lot of server staff, wait staff, hostess. It really helps us keep those prices low so that we still see a lot of customers coming in.
According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are 1.4 million LGBTQ+ owned businesses across the country. They help generate trillions to the economy.
That is major, absolutely a huge buying power.
Members of the LGBTQ+ community encourage others to think before they buy.
Definitely need to be aware of where we're spending our dollars and how we can help our community by buying local and buying from small businesses.
And showing support can be quite simple.
Pride sticker on the door, small little gesture like that shows people right from the get-go it's a welcoming space, it's a safe space, and all are welcome.
The LGBTQ+ business community, like others, are learning and adapting to the ever-changing economy. Carvajal says the use of social media contributed to their success.
Facebook and Instagram have both been keys in us just being able to stay, in people's feeds and letting them know what's going on with our business.
As more businesses open up, so do job opportunities. In Phoenix, Jessica Herrera, Cronkite News.
According to the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the LGBTQ+ community spends $917 billion every year on goods and services. The group found customers are more likely to change brands when they know that businesses are inclusive.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. Break It Down is next. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.